Welcome to the first PAC Football Report of the 2025 season, covering games from September 4th through 6th. I'm Joe Onderko. This week we will take a quick look back at the 2024 season in the President's Athletic Conference, while also previewing the opening fall football weekend. 3 PAC teams finished as tri-champions in 2024, Washington and Jefferson, Grove City, and Carnegie Mellon, with all 3 earning NCAA D3 playoff berths, marking the first ever 3-bid season in conference history. In addition, Westminster earned a berth representing the PAC in the inaugural Open Doors Bowl Series, defeating OAC rep Marietta 27-13 in the Extra Points Bowl in Canton, Ohio. For the first time since the 2022 season, PAC teams will each play 2 out-of-conference games in 2025. The season kicks off on Thursday night, when Westminster hosts OAC member Marietta in a rematch of last year's bowl game at Harold-Burry Stadium in New Wilmington at 7 p.m. The Titans have won 4 of 5 all-time meetings against the Pioneers, with the only Marietta victory in the series being a 14-8 final in New Wilmington back in 1969. Veteran Titan head coach Scott Benzel notes that with a new head coach and staff, Marietta will provide a different look and new challenges from last season's meeting.
Yeah, it's pretty unique. You got a new staff in there, and so we don't really have any understanding of, schematics, offense and defense, which, again, we just don't know the X's and O's behind it. But we're familiar with the young men at Marietta, and we know how tough they are, and we're going to have our hands full.
Also opening the season with a home night game is Thiel, as the 2025 Tomcats debut on Friday night at Alumni Stadium, with a 6 p.m. kickoff against Concordia University from Wisconsin. It's the first ever meeting on the gridiron between the two programs, as Concordia posted a 6-3 record as a member of the NACC in 2024. Fourth-year Tomcat head coach Sam Bauman talks about what led to the decision to open the season on Friday night under the lights in Greenville.
It was actually a lot to help them with travel. So, it gave them an opportunity not to kind of lose a work day on that Sunday where they're getting ready for their next opponent. So we were able to work with them. It was a great opportunity for us to get a really good week 1 opponent. And we're excited that, to play an out-of-region team. Among
a full slate of Saturday contests, new Saint Vincent head coach Casey Goff makes his Bearcat coaching debut at home as SVC hosts Hilbert at Chuck Knoll Field in Latrobe at 1 p.m. Goff, most recently head coach at the College of New Jersey, returns to the PAC after having previously served a stint as co-defensive coordinator at W&J. As the Bearcats prepare to face Hilbert from the Liberty League for the first ever football matchup between the schools, Goff talked about his goals for the 2025 season at Saint Vincent.
We had to kind of retrain a mindset here, and we're still not had to, we have to. We're still in that process. I think we took strides in the right direction last spring and then through camp. I've said this time and time again, I'm not necessarily, obviously we want to win football games, but I'm not necessarily going to gauge this team on wins and losses.
In other Week 1 PAC action, Hiram returns to the conference for the first time since 1989 and also opens its season on Thursday night, traveling to face Heidelberg from the OAC for a 7 p.m. kickoff. The rest of the action takes place Saturday afternoon, led by Washington and Jefferson hosting Utica from the Empire 8 at Cameron Stadium at 12 noon. Also kicking off at noon is Bethany, which hosts Sewanee, Tennessee from the SAA at Bison Stadium. Other PAC teams debuting at home facing foes from the NCAC include Waynesburg, hosting John Carroll at Wiley Stadium at 1 p.m., and Allegheny facing Denison at Frank Furrer Stadium in Meadville at 2 p.m. Opening on the road is Grove City, which travels to face 2023 D3 National Champion Cortland from the SUNYAC at 1 p.m. Case Western Reserve, which travels to New Jersey to face NJAC opponent Rowan at 1 p.m., and Geneva, which travels to Eastern PA to face MAC opponent Widener at 1 p.m. That's all for this Week 1 edition of the PAC Football Report. Remember to log on to the conference website at www.pacathletics.org all season long for the latest news, scores, statistics, and other league information. You can also follow us on social media daily via X, Facebook, and Instagram. Links, as always, are available at the PAC website. I'm Joe Onderko. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you at the stadium.